everyone for the past few years, he believes that something big is going to come our way and we are not prepared for it. What does this foreboding warning from Elon mean? What sort of event can we expect to happen in the near future? Let's find out. Elon Musk is a man who can only be considered one of the greatest geniuses that have ever walked this planet. His capabilities as a scientist, engineer, and a businessman have been unparalleled. He started out with nothing and now owns some of the largest companies on the planet. He is one of the few people who have been able to bring every idea he had in his mind to fruition. But as of recently, Musk has gone from innovating for himself to innovating for the world. His pioneering space company SpaceX has developed the world's first reusable rockets, a revolutionary landmark in the field of science. His talent for seeing what the world needs and bringing it to life is something that very few innovators have been able to achieve. Elon is also someone who believes in sustainable living and fighting against global warming. His car company Tesla releases electric cars that are not just eco-friendly by being carbon neutral and electric, but also pack a punch. He knew that people wanted to go fast, so he developed a car that emits zero pollution while doing so. Elon has constantly been innovating to the point that many people think that he is obnoxious and rude. Musk clearly has his sights set on things beyond that we can understand. Elon's enthusiasm about space is well known, with that being his main topic of discussion wherever he goes. Elon believes that space travel is the final goal of the human civilization. He's always been interested in space as a child, reading books like A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and other fantastical novels that most children love. He had always been a bit odd to everyone around him, but no one would know that he has a condition called Asperger's that makes social interaction a little bit difficult for him. Nonetheless, he would work hard in school. When it came time for him to join college, he went to Canada to live and study with his mother, and then the US. Musk's first business venture was Zip2, an online city guide akin to what you'd find on Google Maps, which found success and gave him the money to move into other ventures. He would establish, eventually, SpaceX and Tesla, two cornerstone companies that he's known for. Ever since Musk started growing famous in the late 2000s for his eccentric but charming nature, many people began interviewing him and asking him what he thinks about life and humanity. He staunchly states that he believes that humanity's end goal is to become a planet-faring civilization, not just because it is the epitome of innovation, but because this world cannot be our home forever. Now, why would he say such a thing on a planet we've been on for millions of years? It's very simple, because of the fact that the Earth will only last a few million or so years before the sun begins to expand. Yeah, you had it right, expand. Now, if you didn't know that before, let me just explain it. The sun works on the basis of fusion, where it smashes hydrogen together to form helium, which in turn releases a lot of energy, which is why the sun is burning constantly. This process is not one that will continue forever, as the hydrogen gas that it burns is limited in nature. What happens then once that finishes? Well, after that it will begin smashing the helium and other elements in it to form denser elements, till it collapses in on itself and explodes in a supernova. Here's the thing though, the planet is guaranteed to get destroyed somewhere in the future, but with the way that things are going among human civilizations, we might not even make it a decade from now because of how inhospitable the planet is getting from our own actions. From polluting the planet with inordinate amounts of garbage, to heating our own atmosphere and stripping the ozone layer using insane amounts of CFCs, we are destroying our planet at an unprecedented rate to meet the demand, and that is just one of several ways in which human civilization could collapse before we become spacefaring. But here's where things take a turn. Another way in which Musk believes that human civilization is threatened is the population. You might say, population numbers are the only thing we have. Then why are so many countries struggling to keep their economies afloat? One of the biggest examples of this is China, where for the longest time the government enacted a one-child policy where every married couple was only allowed to have one child, but on taking a census and graphing their population, they realized that the number of senior citizens outweighed the number of working youth 10 to 1. Even though they repealed the one-child policy, because of the norm, people still only wanted to have one child. This led to the elderly population being supported only by a relative handful of youth. This is a recipe for disaster. Musk believes that countries from China are only one single tragedy away from collapsing completely. Musk also says that a lot of people think of extinction as one big event that wipes out an entire civilization, but he says this is wrong, as one event is not all it takes for the complete extinction of something. It's only when consequent extinction events happen that a species gets wiped out. He takes the example of dinosaurs and debunks the fact that it was only the meteor strike that wiped them out. Although in a general sense it did, their extinction would not have been complete and permanent if it wasn't followed by a global winter around the globe, which caused all plant life to die. Elon argues that our issues with our environment and population are, in effect, problems that could be the very end of us if we aren't ready to deal with them. And Elon says that humanity is ill-equipped as of right now. If society were to collapse or an extinction-level event happen right now, perhaps only a handful of people would survive, but eventually die out of fighting over rations. He believes that the answer to all our problems has always been out in space, which is the final frontier for human civilization. We can conquer the land and sea all we want, but if we can't conquer space, it's truly game over for us. Elon's motivations to begin SpaceX were exactly this: to advance human civilization forward with an emphasis on saving it. Elon started developing some of the most revolutionary flight technology as soon as he started the company. Although he was eventually scoffed at and called crazy, all his critics fell silent once he successfully tested his first reusable rocket, Falcon 9, in 2010, proving once again for all that his genius was not to be questioned. Musk, being the man that he is, was not satisfied with settling for anything less than perfection, so he continued to create and innovate more efficient rockets and starships. His most successful venture in SpaceX would be his satellites called Starlink. Their reliability and quality build made it the private organization's first choice to use and host their services on. These satellites are so cheap and efficient to launch that Musk is able to set them up in a matter of few days in places that need them the most. We still haven't talked about what actually was Musk's motivation to start SpaceX. Elon has had a dream since he was a child to see humanity in space and to make another planet hospitable for human life. After reaching adulthood, he would finally be able to map out a plan to actually venture into space and carry out his own plan. His final destination is now Mars, and he understands that dreaming about going out into deep space and exploring the stars is a task for the generations that come after him. But Elon realizes that he can be the father of space travel by taking humanity to the furthest it's ever been. We all know that Mars is an inhospitable planet with no oxygen and a thin atmosphere. Terraforming Mars is something that is nigh impossible, as we do not have the current technology to do so, although there have been some crazy propositions like nuking the planet to create an artificial winter and subsequently creating water on the planet. Musk has realized this limitation and is working out the possible ways in which the human civilization could survive on the planet. His current plan for the planet is to establish a consistent supply chain to the planet with his reusable rockets, sending supplies back and forth. Using this system, he would build an outpost on the planet which would have rations and the necessary technology to sustain life. He wants to go to the planet himself and work there, trying to work out a solution for terraforming the planet to make it our second home. His endgame with Mars is to have at least 1 million people on the planet in his lifetime, living and working productively on the planet, effectively creating a second home for humanity. The question naturally arises, why go through all this strain? Why not just kick back, relax, and let the future deal with it? This is because Musk believes that the very reason for our existence is to ensure our own survival. All these years we've procreated and continued our species, but being blessed with a higher intellect has let us see things the way it is. Procreating will not guarantee our continued existence anymore. We need to look to the stars for our answers. Elon questions everyone who has a mindset like the question that was posed and wonders what drives these people to live every day. Elon says that there is no greater motivation in life for him than to work towards the insurance of human life. He wakes up in the morning and pushes himself to work and find solutions for the world that is slowly dying. He believes that the signs are all around us for us to pack our bags and find a new home. He says that we should definitely work towards the sustainment of this planet, but with our current trajectory, looking for a new planet to call home is not a bad idea. Elon says that the advancement of human civilization is not an effort that can be pushed forward by one man, no matter how great they are. It requires the collective push of society to ensure that it stays on track. He urges everyone that this planet, regardless of its longevity, is not our final home, nor should it be. He firmly believes that in the next decade or so, if humanity doesn't venture into space and establish itself as a successful spacefaring colony, it will begin fighting over what's left on this planet instead of trying to escape it.